All right. Quote man.
Let's have an honest being the keyword, doggone it, man. I am done today.
Uh-oh. Conversation
about the DCEU now that it's over. Genesis.
Oh, do I have to go first?
Well, he's saying who said it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's what you said.
Okay. So yeah. I just thought it was appropriate since now that it's officially over. It's over. It's done. I don't know what the new. I don't know if they're just gonna call it DCU. I don't know if
it's just DCU.
DCU, yeah, which I never understood the DCEU anyway. It's like you're putting out a product that is trying to, like, going off a blueprint of what the MCU is doing, but you're purposely calling it something else. I think most people called it the DCU anyway. So it's just, I don't know.
It was them trying to be different from the MCU.
And it's just like, whatever. I was like, yeah, this is dumb. It's not, but I don't know how we want to do this.
I'll do this quickly, man.
Is it a grade? Is it a feeling?
I think it's a pass or fail, and the honest truth to it is it failed.
Yeah, it has to be a fail.
It doesn't mean that you don't have stuff you don't like from it. Sorry, that I don't like from it. I have to remember that you're here. But I mean, if we're talking about how it succeeded or didn't succeed, obviously this was a failure. Monetarily wise, story wise, on a couple of them. This last,
I didn't look up the official numbers, but is it a fail monetarily? I know
monetarily, yes.
I know the last few has been losses.
When you talk about the overall success,
but then you had some Aquaman $1 billion movies. You see what I'm saying? So I don't. Man of Steel's,
but it's still less $1 billion movies than overall movies made, right? Yeah. So, you have to say that it failed. It doesn't mean that there weren't good movies in it. It just means that when you look at it as a brand, the brand itself tanked. So, and you can have your arguments against it. I don't really care. But when you look at it from a corporate way, didn't do what it needed to do. Didn't do what it wanted him to do.
I don't think there's any way you can look at it and say that it wasn't a fail. Yeah. I don't think fans necessarily were excited for the overall product. You might have been one or two that you were more excited for, regardless if it was successful or not, and blah blah blah. But I think overall, as a whole, I don't think comic book fans thought much of this. I don't think DC fans thought much of this. I don't think movie fans thought much of this. And like you said, from the corporate standpoint, obviously it was.
From a corporate standpoint, it
was a failure.
And you have a lot of stuff going into it. You had 2 or 3 changes at the top while this was going on, and everyone started to become, hey, we want to edit this, we want to edit it this way, we want to look at it this way. No, bring this back. I said it when it happened from a corporate standpoint. I cannot believe they actually let Justice League be finished by Snyder. Mm-hmm. It was the greatest and worst thing that they decided to do, and it's the worst because now you've proven to your audience that if you annoy us enough, we'll give you what you want. Mm-hmm.
Well, that
doesn't always work.
Well, that just shows me that they were just chasing the bag.
It really,
it was at that point where it's just like you're just in it to make money now.
Well, and it was absolutely done to bring subscribers in to HBO Max.
And I don't want that to be the lead thing. Obviously, it has to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. I don't want that to be the lead thing on why things are being made and not made, because then you end up with things like Birds of Prey, and it's just like, because you have this star and you have this character that everyone likes and this actress that everyone likes, and you just make this movie and it's horrible. It's just like it's like one of the worst ones that they put out. If I'm, out of all the ones that were put out, like that Birds of Prey was one of the worst movies they put out. And I
don't even think that's fair to say, because I think there's a lot of movies that we could say that about with them. And this is coming from a fan of DC. This is coming from a fan of some of these movies. But I'm just saying, like, the reason that it was made was simply to make money. Yeah.
There was no other reason that they made this movie. So
other than to realize that there was a capitalization upon Margot Robbie.
But you think that one was, you said the worst?
It was one of the worst.
Okay, one of.
It was one of the worst movies.
You know which one I think was the worst.
What?
I don't.
I'll tell you after our review.
I think it might be Batman versus Superman. I don't know.
For me, no.
So my thing with Batman versus Superman is you did have the Wonder Woman aspect to it. And those scenes alone like I like to say more recently, like probably were worth the price of admission. The main movie, Batman and Superman, all that shit was whack. But Wonder Woman, you incorporate Wonder Woman, Doomsday, and then it's like, okay. Like,
what I need Zack Snyder to stop doing.
Hey, Zach.
Stop. If you could do me a favor,
when
you make a movie, make sure that whatever you're going to want to put out there, it is already put out there. Don't come back to me 3 months later with this upgraded version. Because I will say the extended version of Batman vs. Superman is better than the original. Why didn't you just put that one out?
But see, we watched the extended version. I don't think
we watched. Yeah. I thought that was Justice League.
I think no. I mean, because we bought it. We didn't see it in the theaters. We bought the DVD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, so I'll just go ahead and say like the 3 movies that I liked, that were good, passable, acceptable, like Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Flash. Outside of that, like a lot of these movies were just hot ass garbage.
I am
like
not
hot ass garbage.
I am not saying this to say it to be, because you know how I feel. We've already done a show on it.
Yeah.
For me, worst one was The Flash. And the more and more I think, I tried watching it because you loved it so much. After our podcast, I tried watching it again. I can't do it. Because there's so many different ways to make that movie better, and it just failed on
right.
every
But
level.
I just watched the movie for what it is.
Yeah,
I'm not. You know, you can, because you, like I said, you can take the movie we both like and say it's a 10. The first Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, right?
I still think that's a 10. But that's a 10.
I mean, if we want to just really, really get critical, there's ways that could have been better too. So I'm not going to say it's a bad movie just because it can have been better.
So probably, but the difference being though is I can't really find something that I would want to see better. Could I if I forced it?
That's what I'm saying. Like I could. We can do that with every single movie.
But if I
made.
watch a movie in the first 10 to 15 minutes, I can already say that's a problem for me. For me, that's how. Again, we talked about the different reviewing styles that we have. For me, that's a problem. Like, I shouldn't have that thought.
You call what you do a style?
Every damn day. Except for walking the past 2 weeks or past 2 months.
Okay. So what do you got? You got any, what you got?
Let me see. I was just looking. So the ones I liked were, I liked Suicide Squad.
Ooh.
I liked Wonder Woman.
Wait, which Suicide Squad? The Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad?
For real, which one? John Cena or no John Cena?
Yeah, what he said.
I don't know.
Slappity Slap Smith, or what, was he in both of them?
No,
he wasn't. Slap Smith or Big Starfish or no Starfish?
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know. The one with Margot Robbie and Will Smith.
Okay, so the first one.
Yeah, I didn't like the first.
Okay,
one.
I liked.
I didn't like either one of them, but
I like the second one better.
I did like that one, but I think it was more about Margot Robbie. Like, I loved her, but
so it's your fault they made Birds of Prey.
Yes.
Did you like Birds of Prey?
There were parts of it I liked, but overall I was like, eh. But anyway, I like Suicide Squad, maybe for the wrong reasons, but whatever. I liked it.
I mean, there's no wrong reasons.
Well, I liked it because of Margot Robbie.
There's objectively wrong reasons.
Okay, well, whatever. I liked Wonder Woman, and I liked. Okay, so The Flash, it's like, I thought it was a good quality. I thought there was a lot of good stuff to it, but I forget his name. Like I said in the original review, he just got on my nerves. Yeah. He started off okay, but it just got to be too much, to where it just made it like,
well, there's 3 of them. So
exactly.
So yeah.
But it was a good quality movie. I mean,
it was definitely, again, objectively speaking, it was one of the better DC movies that was out.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of, everything else I really thought about, and I was like, there were parts of Shazam that were like, okay, it wasn't the worst movie I ever saw. It was all right. There was parts of Black Adam that I liked, and there was parts of Blue Beetle that I liked. Aquaman 2, well, we'll get into that, but
yeah, we're gonna leave that alone.
Anyway,
but so here's my thing though. Like you said, you whatever about the Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, but Suicide Squad,
the first one.
First one. Mm-hmm. Would you ever watch that movie again?
So no, because here's the thing. I liked it, but I tried to watch it again later, and I was like, I can't watch this. I don't like.
So it's just like, and so here's the deal. Like Man of Steel. I can see myself wanting to watch it again for certain scenes, but then I like The Flash, and like some of those scenes that I liked from Man of Steel, like I can also get a similar experience from Flash. So it's like I wouldn't even have a need to necessarily watch either one of those twice. I mean, I know they're generally speaking different movies, but when I want to watch something else again, it's never that I want to watch the whole movie again. It's like I just like Endgame. Like I just want to see that last battle. Right.
That's how I feel about Suicide Squad. I just want to watch the parts with Margot Robbie. I know I sound like a lunatic, but I'm just serious. I just really like her.
All right, so we're reviewing Barbie next, right?
Well, we saw Barbie.
We could.
For me, my favorite one probably is I'd probably have to go Wonder Woman first, Man of Steel second. I don't know who's third. If I'm being honest, I don't know who's third, and that's not me.
Well, for you, I would say it would be Blue Beetle. But if we're objectively speaking, I don't think you would pick that movie.
Blue Beetle, which I now have watched 3 times, I will say that, is a fun movie. But fun doesn't make it necessarily good. And so I love it for other reasons than what some of the other reviewers or whatever would love or hate it. Right.
So I think from everything I'm hearing, I think we need to sit down and watch The Flash together, because
I can't do it.
But now here's the deal. Hear me out. And I said this before on the show, and we talked about this many times after the show. Yes, we still talk after the show.
Do we?
Yeah. And before the show. Just not a proper show meeting, but whatever. All the back and forth that we do, all the whatever on the show, like it seems like at the end of the day, generally speaking, we'll come to a similar conclusion. So you didn't know what I was going to say. You didn't even know I was going to give you my top 3. And 2 of the 3 were the same ones on your list.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, okay, then, but I it's like,
again though,
something with the Flash,
playing the contrarian, I'm not trying to do right now. I don't care about if we match on every single thing that we do, I'm fine with it. If we don't match, I'm fine with it. Flash is a movie I just don't like, and I'm sorry. You want to talk if you want to talk about the CGI, if you want to talk about,
but this particular conversation, the way it's been going, it's not necessarily what you like and dislike. It's just what you said about Neon Genesis. You said there were people out there that might not like it. I've never met those people, but
to be fair, neither have I.
Right. So there might be people that don't like it, but but if you want to just be objective and honest about it, like you will be able to appreciate what was created. I
appreciate the thought that they were trying to do, but the execution was just piss poor.
I appreciate the thought.
To me, that will be the worst movie in the DCEU for me, hands down. It's not even close.
Birds of Prey, bro.
I'm cracking up. I appreciate the thought.
Oh my God.
I appreciate the thought of it, but
I don't even appreciate the thought of Birds of Prey. Like they just should not have made that movie.
I have watched Birds of Prey. This is how I watch Birds of Prey. I'm going to show you.
Which eyes closed on mute.
I was working, and then I would be like, look at the cell phone, and I would hear something, and I'd be like, oh, what happened?
Nothing.
Okay, cool.
Nothing.
And then
happened.
I would go through, like it was
nothing good.
It was disjointed. That's the nicest thing I can say about Birds of Prey. It was disjointed.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not the only movie that's disjointed. So, but it's still. Even having said that, Birds of Prey, bottom of the trash. Flash underneath the trash. I could not get behind it, and I have tried watching it multiple times now.
So, do we think there will be an appetite for whatever new is coming? Because I'm worried that this full reset is going to put some people off, and in the way that, because there was always rumblings of another Superman, another Batman, another Spider-Man. There's always been that in the background for these movies. Like how many times, like, the joke, how many times Uncle Ben, how many times is Batman's parents going to die?
You got to start showing something new. If rumor has it to be true, then we finally get a villain for Superman that's been in the comic books but not on the movies, which is what needs to happen. And that's the problem, right? But how many times can we kill Uncle Ben? How many times can we kill Pa Kent?
But to me, that's more of the same.
Yeah,
you're starting over and with a new villain that hasn't been in the movies. I feel like there's more of the same. What's been going on?
It's because there's never good. Well, My mother, who I finally got her to watch one comic book movie.
It better have been a good one. Doing that woman like that.
She
Birds of Prey
watched Blue Beetle, and she loved Blue Beetle for everything that it was.
Yeah.
Right. But she made a comment during the middle of which I laughed because it's the truth. She goes, "Well, we all know the hero's going to win," and that's the problem. Give me a superhero movie where
that's why
he's going to die.
That's why Infinity War was so dope.
That's right. Because it wasn't just one. I mean, they let you know pretty early on, like, no, we're not joking around with this. Here's your first one.
Vision twice. Doing him like that.
You know, Black Widow, and then Iron Man.
Black Panther.
Well, he came back.
Well, he came back, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of that movie.
Oh, we're half.
Right.
You killed half the. And we joked about that on our show, and I said the only thing this makes sense. I said, and they'll never do that is, and Jason said the same thing. If they follow the book completely, where they kill half of everybody, they're like, but it's Disney. They're never going to have the guts to do that with people, and they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hats off to them. Now, granted, it's hollow. It was good, and it was in service of the movie, which is what worked with the storyline. So I am proud of that. But they came back. So to have the meaningful three deaths that you had.
But we knew they were coming back. But
not the audience.
But there was a bunch of the casuals who, I'm not saying it in a negative way. I appreciate you all.
Yeah.
Because you all keep it going. And I get to keep seeing my comic book people on the big screen. So I'm not saying it in a negative way. But
they didn't know.
They had no clue, and they were pissed.
Yeah.
T'Challa was dead. Oh, they were pissed.
I remember walking out of that theater, and everyone was like, what was this? Like, everyone was, I don't know about y'all's theater. It was dead quiet.
When those credits came on, it was like a gasp.
There was a little boy in our audience who was like, "What? No, Spider-Man!" And it was like, yeah. Now, in the back of my mind, I was like, they had the guts to do it. Cool. Like, I knew it wasn't going to stick, right? Comic book fans knew it wasn't going to stick, but it was one of those things where it was like, good for them. And then again, going into Endgame, where you killed 3 of the original. Good for them, right? Or 2 of the originals and 1 that had come along. That was what needs to happen now, right? You don't even necessarily have to kill someone, but let them stop. Let the ending of the movie be the ending of the story.
How would you feel if they had did one last like big Justice League that incorporated like everybody, not just the core Justice League, and killed them all?
Given the state of that, I think that would have been gutsy. And as long as it's not just done for the sake of killing them all.
Well, it would have been, because it's still going to end. Yeah. Right.
But something with meaningful where there's one where it's just Superman that survives, for instance, because he can, right? Kill everyone else and you just end it. As long as it's done right, great. I would have been okay with it. There's the reason I like the Dark Knight trilogy from Nolan is the fact it ends with him, quote unquote, dying. That we get a happy ending at the end, just him saying, "I'm out. I've done everything I can now. I want to live my life." Fantastic. But that's how Batman goes. That's it. That's it. Batman dies.
I would have liked it better if they didn't do that extra.
The extra ending?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have felt more like final. As opposed to it being final because of all the stuff that you actually read, like the I'm not coming back, and I'm not doing the movie if I got to be Robin, and I don't want to be, and all that mess.
It should have been what it did with the actual ending. Did you have to necessarily show him in Paris? Was there still discussion about, well, was that just what in his mind? No, it was him. He survived it. But it should have ended the way it did end, which is someone else taking up that mantle.
No, let me tell you, when I saw that movie, I literally thought he was dead for real in the movie theater. I started crying. I mean, not like, but like I was like, tears were coming down my face. I thought he was dead.
I really enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, he can't be dead. And in my mind, I immediately went back to they brought up the whole freaking computer thing like 3 or 4 times during this damn movie about, well, if the autopilot worked, if the autopilot was right, I'm like, this MFer fixed the autopilot. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's what I kept thinking. Because for a split second, I was like, great. Like, that's how you should end a Batman flick, is eventually it's too much. He's got to die.
at some point.
Them showing the wear and tear on his body. Mm-hmm.
Well, or you just make a ending, you make a Shutter Island ending if you want to do that.
You could
like just some like you where you really just don't know, like a purposeful. Like I don't really know. I didn't feel that way. I felt like he's still alive.
If they would have not have shown him and showed every other little thing and instance that was going on, you're right. Is he or is he not? And then you as the audience member can sit there and go, he is, because everything that was like, or you could sit there and go, he died, but he made sure everything was taken care of before he died. Like either one of those could have worked.
That's how bad the DCEU is. This segment was supposed to be all about them, and we end up talking about Endgame and
the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah.
So yeah, that's. I mean, I think that kind of sums it up.
Let's talk about the final nail.
Ooh, y'all ready?
Yep.
All right, let's get on to round 3.